It's Christmas season, and there cannot be a better time than this to be learning how to bake a cake. I'm going to teach you a simple way of making plum cake with very simple setup. I'm going to use an old rice cooker for this purpose. It's filled it with sand and it's going to be lit on firewood. We begin by making the caramel, which is going to give color to the cake. 7 tablespoons of sugar dissolved in half a cup of water. Light the stove and watch it fume. Once it starts fuming and it turns black, it will start rising. At this stage, add water and dissolve the entire contents. Be very careful because at this stage it can splutter and cause burns. Once the entire contents have been dissolved well, leave it aside to cool. Meanwhile, you can chop the nuts, cashew, almond, and walnuts. Chop them into small pieces. Apart from this, I'm also going to use marinated fruits, dates, cherries, tutti frutti, and kismis, all of them marinated for over a month in rum. If you so desire, you can marinate it for a year too, which will give a rich texture to the plum cake. My recipe is going to involve half kg each of maida, sugar, egg, and butter. Now you need to prepare the spices. 2 cardamoms, 4 cloves, a small bit of cinnamon, and quarter nutmeg. Add sugar and blend it well in a mixture. After it is powdered well, sieve it into the caramel that you have prepared. Mix it well, and to this you're going to add 3 teaspoons of vanilla essence. Mix the entire contents well and keep aside. You're going to add juice of 1 orange and half a lemon to this. Also grind the rind of half a orange and keep ready. Now you have to weigh the baking powder. You need 10 grams of baking powder, of which 5 grams will be mixed with half a cup of curd. Remaining 5 grams are going to be added to the maida, half a kg of maida, and it's going to be sieved 3 times. You're going to sieve it 3 times to make sure that the maida and the baking powder will get mixed very well. You're going to use curd in this recipe to reduce the proportion of baking powder. If you are not using curd, you have to use 15 grams of baking powder. When you mix half a cup of curd with 5 grams of baking powder, it's going to froth and it will start rising. Then now keep it aside. Now in a large bowl, take half a kg of butter and add half kg of powdered sugar and mix well with a wooden ladle. Weigh half a kg of eggs and keep it ready. Once your mixture is ready, add caramel to this. Mix it very well. All the mixing has to be done before you add the maida. So make sure that it's all mixed very well. Now separate egg yolk from the white. The white will be blended in the mixie first and it will be added to the batter. Mix it well, then blend the yellow separately and add it to the mixture. You will need assistance when making the batter. Make sure you have one more pair of hands to help you. So now the yellow has been added, and that is all with the mixing. Now you add the curd and baking powder mixture, and also the ground orange peel of half an orange. Once it's mixed well, now you're going to add the maida and baking powder mix. Now when you're going to add maida, you're not going to stir it as you have been doing all this while. It's going to be very simple stirring. You will not be stirring it much. Now add a little bit of maida to the marinated fruits, so that they will not sink to the bottom. Now add the entire fruits to the batter. Once you made sure that the maida has blended well into the mixture, add the fruits. Do not stir much after this. Don't stir much. Just mix it a little bit with the wooden spatula, with the wooden ladle. And now you have to get ready your cake tin. You already have the wrapper of the butter. You can use that to grease your cake tin. Meanwhile, make sure your firewood is lit and your cake oven is preheated. Now add the batter. Make sure that it is only to the half level of the tin, because once it starts rising, it will go outside the tin. Add almonds over it, chopped almonds over it, which will give a nice look to the cake. Now your oven is preheated already. So place the cake tin very carefully, turning it a bit so that it sinks a bit into the sand. In between, it'll take around half an hour to bake the first cake. Make sure that it's cooked well by inserting a stick into it, a toothpick or a coconut stick into it, and you can invert it onto a plate. Your cake is ready. Now this next cake is getting ready for transportation to the oven. So that's all. Thank you.